Yeah, well, I kind of think it's, to a certain extent, kind of been like death by a thousand paper cuts. It's little things that knock you off schedule, getting behind the sticks, not making the plays when they're there. Those things, they add up all the time. But particularly last week when you're playing against a really good football team, you have to be opportunistic. You gotta take advantage of those chances when you get them, because they're not. You're not going to have like 8 trips down there, going against a team like that. And so you got to maximize the opportunities that you have. But I think across the board, when you look at the scope of the entire year, I think part of it is we've kind of each taken our own turn. It hasn't been just one thing, but at different times, we've each taken our own turn. And so you just have to be more consistent. Have to believe. I do think there's a sense of, even though it hasn't gone the way, there has to be a belief that when you get down there, you're gonna find a way to punch it in. And however that looks, whether it's running it, throwing it, whatever we have to do to find a way to put it in the end zone.
Yeah, but the deep shots, the inconsistent protection, whatever. When the decision's been made to go with a rookie left tackle, they know there's a big growing pains. Does that impact how you approach things as a quarterback?
I don't think you can. I think the impact comes from game planning, and in ways to try and design things to make sure there's help, or we're sliding a certain way. I think when you're playing, you have to trust that the play is going to shake out the way it's supposed to. And I think Bernie's getting better. He's played against some really good players in his handful of opportunities this year. But I think week to week there's going to be continued growth for him, and we got to find ways to not only help him but just across the board, just make sure we're in the best situation possible to get double teams when we can, and not try and put guys on one-on-ones on islands as much as possible.
You played early in off-season and training camp and all this. You saw what Mo could do in the passing game. What he presented. Lately, he's had to be sort of that extra lineman. How's he handled that?
I think he's handled it well. I think obviously he at different times throughout the year he's had production for us in the pass game and done a really good job. But when you're trying to shore things up front, you tend to either chip with tight ends or keep tight ends in to try and help with tackles, to create just one more guy for front staff to go around. And so it obviously limits what he can do in the pass game. But I think from an attitude, from an effort standpoint, I think he's been great.
You played in many Monday night games. Can you talk about just how nice it is to embrace that moment? The entire country will be watching this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. It's always fun Monday night. I think now there's Thursday night and Sunday night, but when I was growing up, it was Monday night was kind of it. Sunday night came into it a little bit, but Monday night was the night. And so I've always found it really fun to play in those type of environments. I know we've got such a good fan base here, and let's give them something to cheer about. Let's give them something to get rowdy about, and hopefully we can do that Monday night.
Does it seem strange that they haven't had a home Monday night game here since 2015?
I suppose. It is. Yeah, it is. I guess that is a long time, but glad to have it back.
Now, what do you see from the Pittsburgh front? What do you see from that Pittsburgh front?
Yeah, I think they're talented. I think it's a good group, physical on the inside. They got game changers on the outside, guys that you have to, in that front seven. But on the edge rushers, they've got a lot of talent, but they play with great effort too. And they finish and they find ways to get those effort, strips or sacks or even plays in the run game. So I think it's a good group. It's certainly going to be a good challenge for us. And we've got to go play our best.
You guys went toe-to-toe with one of the top teams in the league last week. What can you take away from that Eagles game to give you some confidence going into this matchup against the Steelers?
Well, I think you look at the things we did well, and you emphasize them, and you look at the things we need to clean up, and you focus on that during the week of practice. How do we get our technique just a little bit better? Because I've always thought that when you're going against the really good teams, the margin for error is small, and I think obviously the margin for error was very small last week, But if we just tighten some things up, there's a really good opportunity for us to be a lot more productive. And I really expect us to do that. I feel like, we're going to put in a great week of work this week. We've got the extra day, which is good for us at this time of the year. We've had a long stretch, without much time off. So getting that extra day, not only for recovery, but also, to work on some of the things we need to work on, I think is a good thing for us right now.